Hello, welcome to my boyfriend's closet. I'm Evie.
Hi, Evie. I thought you were gonna say my brother, and me, and I was
Hi.
like, that name's actually already been taken. We can't have it.
Hello, welcome to my brother, and me. I'm your oldest brother, Evie Bishop.
I guess you are older. Yeah, I'm your.
And also I'm the oldest brother and you're the middleest sibling.
Then who's the youngest?
I don't know because our Griffin is too old.
Yeah, oldie. I guess I'm Hailey. I am under 30, but I'm not like
A
a
media
media
luminary.
luminary, I would say. No, I'm a college student who just decided that she wanted to change her major after taking only classics classes the first semester.
Oh my god, wait, what are you changing your major to?
I think, or do I? I don't know. I just
You have no clue. You just decided that classics ain't it.
I decided that I didn't want to be an academic because the only thing that you can do in class is buckle up for some life lessons, kids. Really is like get into a lot of debt, get your PhD, the old college try. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to just write essays for the rest of my life. I think maybe I want to do something with kids. Get ready to ride on the Segway of your life. You know who else are kids also as well?
The American Girl dolls.
The American Girl.
Welcome to Evie Carries Their Mic Around, where we're going to talk about American Girl dolls. This is actually our Immortal.
Welcome to our Immortal. It's not your Immortal. It's not my Immortal.
It's our
It's
Immortal.
our Immortal, where we talk about really weird fan fictions,
And the fandoms associated with them.
and
Do you have any American Girl dolls growing up?
Evie, I had fucking millions, and by fucking millions, I mean I think I had like 3 actual American Girl dolls, and then quite a few fake American Girl dolls. You know, because
So,
they're like $100. They're
so it was like
roll the
it was worth
expensive.
over $1 million because they're so expensive.
They're so expensive. They're like $120, I think, back then.
Yeah.
So I always got them for my birthday. But I think some well-meaning relatives got me like other like 18-inch size dolls. I had one named Alex. She was a little whore. Oh my god, she was a modern girl. Can you
Oh my
believe
gosh,
it?
I had two Our Generation dolls because they were like
Mm.
$45 as opposed to $145. But I had the mini American Girl
Yeah,
doll.
yeah. You had the minis. What's her name?
Kirsten?
Not Samantha. Yes, I had large Kirsten. Thank you. How could I forget her? I had her book. I read her book all the time.
I also owned
Um,
her book.
yeah, and then I had large Cecile.
So I had mini ones with
Sorry. Lila had bitty baby twins,
I
which I
remember the
think
Bitty
is
Baby
just the
twins.
most. Yeah, yeah, the most bullshit marketing thing
Yeah.
ever. Oh my
I saw
god.
some
And
fan
I was
fictions.
pissed because one of the bitty babies was a boy. And I was like, I don't have any boy American Girl boys. I don't have any American Girl boys to kiss my American girls because back then, you know, heteronormative mindset, the girls can't kiss each other. What?
Someday we'll have to make a sequel to this episode where we talk about all the American Girl doll flops. Do you know that there was an American Boy doll, but they used the same face that they used for Kaya because she doesn't have her teeth showing because in her culture that's like a form of aggression is to show your teeth. It's like bare your
Mm-hmm.
teeth at somebody, and so they had her smiling without her teeth, really
And what
respectful.
culture is this?
Her Native American tribe. Which I cannot remember the one that she is supposed to be a part of, but it's an actual tribe up in the Northwest.
Okay,
So
that's what
yeah,
I was getting at. So this is like a genuine tribe
yeah,
that they like did actual
yes.
respectful research on because
From
I think they've kind of had some trouble with that.
so Kaya does not have her teeth showing. To respect her culture, it's a good move, good job.
Okay,
But then they use the
under
same
that.
face mold for her, a Native American as the failed American boy. Big yikes. Anyway, so I had Kit, of course, and I got her book along with it, but at the time her movie hadn't come out on DVD, so I didn't have it. I did see the movie in theaters. Thumbs up for me. I had Molly, and I had her book and her movie. Loved that movie, but I lost it very early on, and I wanted to watch it more, and I couldn't. Then I had Felicity and her book and her movie. Good movie. It's like kind of boring.
I didn't like the movie.
I watched the behind the scenes for that a lot. Then I had Kaya,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't have a movie, which is she deserves a movie because like that would appeal so much to horse girls. Imagine a Kaya horse girl movie
In the
would be
book,
better
didn't
than the
she have a horse that she
yeah
was like really bonded with?
yeah she had like lots of animal friends because she was like out in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Her costume, her like little doll outfit that I had for the mini doll, I loved that costume so much. Can I tell my list first because mine is
Well, let's go slot by slot.
yeah. Let's go.
And
Slot by
I
slot.
do
Let's
want to
start
say
least favorite
I
to most favorite.
I made my list in mind. I am not including the girls that I did not know about because I made this list from memory and then after the fact looked up. And there's a lot of new girls. They invented some new women.
Yeah,
Girl
I have
folk
everybody. I have all.
after I tapped out.
So let's start at our least favorite. How many do you have on your list?
I have 11.
Okay, so we'll
Here,
see.
you speed run through your lower spots.
I'm gonna go through my bottom 4 real fast.
Okay.
My
Okay.
least favorite, Mary Ellen. You haven't heard of Mary Ellen. Have you heard of Mary Ellen?
I looked up the new one.
Fuck Mary Ellen. First of all, she has polio, but like it's barely affecting her. Griffin, I was talking to Griffin about this.
That I did not know that she had polio when I said fuck Mary Ellen.
No, I know that she has polio, and she.
Yeah, wait, they don't have a disabled.
Yeah,
American
they could
Girl
easily like turn it into like this. Like
she could have a
in
wheelchair. That would be
like.
I mean, first of all, the marketing, hello accessories,
Right? Like. Anyway.
Like that just makes sense.
Mary Ellen. Other than that, she's super boring. She's set in the 50s, and she's another blonde white girl.
Yeah, and wasn't there already a doll in the 50s?
No, there wasn't. Then after, so that's my last one. Hate her. Then we got Samantha. Boring as hell, rich girl, don't like her. You had her movie,
Samantha
didn't you?
is the last on my list.
Yeah.
I did not have her movie. I had her books. I really enjoyed her books. Even though she is the last on my list, I remember there was a specific scene where she was making a box for her brother's wife who she hated because why? But she was pasting all of these like magazine cutouts on it. And I was like, what a shitty gift. You're giving this woman like a plywood box with magazine cutouts on it. You couldn't try a little harder.
So
Rich bitch.
Yeah, she's like.
But I did like it. I liked as a child. I liked that.
It was so
this is my
rich and like. I'm not gonna play Trauma Olympic here, but I will actually. Her trauma levels are very low. She's an orphan.
She's not getting on that podium. Well, like, isn't the point of American Girls to like show a unique struggle of the era? What was she struggling with?
Being an orphan.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Then after Samantha, I have Courtney. Listen, Courtney, here's the thing. Here's Courtney's trauma. Yeah. Courtney is 1986, but here's her trauma. Hear me out. Listen.
Are we rating these girls based off of their trauma?
No, but listen to this. Listen to this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Her unique struggle is 1, she saw the Challenger explode. Like all the children did. Everybody saw the Challenger explosion. Number 2, like I'm not downplaying that it was a tragic event and that, that's terrible. But here's like her main struggle. Her parents are happily divorced. Like they get along. Like they're it's amicable. Like they get along. And that's her big struggle. And she was like slightly struggling with her new stepsister, but that's it. That's what Courtney's got. Now I rated her 3rd because she's the 80s and I like the vibes. I like the energy.
Okay. I'm looking at her now. I'm not a huge fan of her hair.
I'm not a huge fan of her hair either. Another blonde white girl.
Yeah.
Next up, I have Caroline, who was the War of 1812 one. I can't remember anything. I know that she came out towards the end of when
Because they really needed a War of 1812
right?
doll.
It kind of came out towards the end of when you and I were into American Girl dolls. And their
Cecile
books.
and Marie Grace were the last ones that I remember.
And then Caroline was around that time as well. I don't know if Caroline is still for sale. But I know that Cecile Ray and Marie Grace aren't. I will say that in the Polygon article rating American Girl dolls, they rated Caroline last. Like, she's fine. Like, I don't remember anything about her, so like I really have no opinions. So I'm not gonna put her last because I really hate Mary Ellen. I really hate.
I'm looking at her right now. She looks boring.
Yeah, she looks boring. And then my my fifth least favorite was Felicity. Felicity was boring. I had her movie, I had her doll, I had her book. I liked her hair, I liked her eyes.
I remember them talking about taxes like in the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? A history lesson?
Yeah, like I feel like
they
had so much opportunity with like colonial era and they didn't really do anything with it.
No, didn't she go to like a finishing school?
Yes, she did. And her like friend, love interest, I don't know. I watched the movie more than I read the book.
Her fruv interest.
Her fruv interest, who was an older boy. Not the same age. Wasn't he? At least in my memory, he was older.
I don't remember. I just came off of watching Sense and Sensibility. Fucking Marianne Dashwood at 17 gets married to like a 38-year-old Colonel Brandon. So like anything less than that range, I'm into. I'm super into.
I would say that overall it's just really boring. It did get me interested in a little bit of that side of history because when I was young, when I was a very big history kid, I think we both were. If you didn't know, Hailey and I went to elementary school together, so we played with each other's American Girl dolls. I was big into the Civil War because we're both from Kansas, and so that was heavily.
That was a huge part of our like schools.
Slightly above Felicity, we have Melody. Now, Melody is the only other black girl, and she is during the Civil Rights era. The second currently being sold. We love that she's during the Civil Rights period. We love that she's a doll of color. Her name is Melody. And she's a Motown singer.
That's really cute. Her name is Melody.
I think that it's kind of like a cliche, and also I feel like they could have done something a little bit more fun with something a little bit more impactful with a Civil Rights era doll.
Having never read the book, it is interesting that she is a like 9-year-old. Is that how old these dolls are?
I feel like they're either 9 or 12. Okay, I did not look it up, and I am basing this entirely off that Polygon article. Thank you to Emily, who no longer works at Polygon, and Petrana Radikovic. I'm so sorry, Petrana. I love your work. Please don't cancel me for mispronouncing your name. And Emily Heller. I'm basing my knowledge of Melody based solely on this article. So sorry.
Excellent. I mean, these came after our generation, and as everybody knows, our generation is the golden generation, and everything after it is stupid and lame and newfangled and dumb. So reject modernity, embrace tradition.
At the article, and I'm getting angry at how much it differs from my personal opinion. Yes, Oh wait, hold on. No, my 12 spot. Cecile Ray and Marie Grace. I loved how Cecile looked, and I kind of found it interesting that there was two of them. Cecile's Grace.
Yeah, I don't know shit about Marie Grace.
I don't care about Marie Grace.
Let me describe to you, our listeners, Cecile's dress.
Kirsten was the one that you were closest to, I think, right?
Yes, we shared a very strong bond. The bond of one that sucks the teat of mother's love. Kirsten is
the one who held
darling.
The one who held their friend as they died.
I'm describing the dress. It's blue. It's slightly green. It's satin. It has black trim. I think it's tiered. It has puffed sleeves. Her hair is gorgeous. She might have the best fashion. She had these cute little like patent leather Mary Janes and these little stockings.
I really, really loved Cecile Ray. Marie Grace, boring white girl with blonde hair.
Well, I just didn't have her, so I did not know a thing about her.
I liked what they did with like the two things, but it could have been done with more interesting characters.
Okay, my number 11 is Samantha for reasons we have discussed. She sucks. My number 10 is Cecile and Marie Grace.
That's what my number 10 is, yeah. So I'm glad we agree there.
Well, that's my number 10 newfangled.
Number 9, what's your number 9? Interesting, my number 9 is Kirsten. I chose Kirsten for my number 9 because I had her book and I really loved her story. I just had other dolls that I liked. There are other ones on this list that I like more.
She sailed from Sweden.
I know. I love her story. I love her story.
She's a farm girl. Here's why. We'll get to this, but here's why I think Kirsten gets some major fucking points. Is her hair.
I love her. It was a braid.
A lot. Yeah, it was in braids and it was looped up around like this.
Her braid loops. I did love that.
But
I thought her outfit was kind of boring.
I liked her outfit, classic blue with a little red checked apron and little brown booties. But like most American Girl dolls have long hair, and I think that's kind of wrong for a doll. Like that, it's plastic. It gets tangled so easily. She had little bangs. Her hair was interesting. All of the other white dolls have the most dog shit hair.
That's true. Number 8.
Kaya.
Nanea. Do you have Nanea?
Oh, she was. No, I don't. Okay. I do not know who she is, but she is the Hawaiian one, isn't she?
She is 1941. That's really all I know about Nanea. But 1, doll of color, we love that. 2, another native doll, which we love. And she has like a really interesting perspective of the whole World War II, which we've heard a lot of. But I feel like we don't hear a lot about that.
Yeah, she's cute. I think her hair is short, isn't it?
I guess
I like a good doll with short hair.
So I don't get to see what you're seeing.
Oh, that's sad. Mine is Kaya. I was never a horse girl. Kaya was cute. You had the Kaya book.
I had the Kaya doll, and I really liked her.
She had the Kaya doll.
She had she had braids, and then at the end of her braids, she had these like shell button things that were so pretty. I was obsessed with them.
Yeah, those were really beautiful. But I had no personal connection to her.
Number 7, I had Addie.
I have Josefina.
I chose Addie because I don't remember much of her story besides her being a slave who went to Canada, and also there's this one scene in one of her books, I think it was probably her first book, about an ice cart, and that's literally all I remember about her.
I remember much more about her, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. I liked her, but like not enough to rank her higher. Number 6. Do you want to talk about Josefina now, or do you want to wait till she's on?
I don't remember very much about Josefina, but I don't know. I just like the way that she looks. Her dress was cool, the white.
I liked her dress a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a dress like hers. There are a lot of pictures of me in it as a baby because I lived in Mexico when I was a baby. And so I felt a personal connection to her because I never had any of those like stupid marketing ploy dolls that are supposed to look like you. But I was like, oh my God, I had that dress. She has that dress.
I had a dress very similar to that also. That my abuela bought me from Mexico, and I really liked it. Anyway, we'll get to Josefina. Josefina's higher up on my list. Number 6. Oh, wait, was that number
Felicity. 6? She is middling at best.
I had Julie because I really liked Julie's look, but I really liked her style.
Julie was cute, but she is totally.
I really did like her story. I think we read it a lot in elementary school. I have a distinct memory of our librarian when we were in elementary school. We had to do a historical fiction review, and she's like, you can do the American Girl books, but not Julie because I remember the 70s, and you can't have one where I remember being alive.
I totally remember that. Yeah. She's a little bit modern.
She was so cute. I loved her style.
She had this little beanie, didn't she? This little like knit purple beanie.
But she would have been better if the story had been Ivy and Julie had been the best friend.
Yeah, Ivy slapped so hard.
Number 5, I had Josefina.
Tell me about you and Josefina.
Well, Josefina had one dead parent and was Mexican, and I have one dead parent and I'm also Mexican. I'm thoroughly less Mexican than Josefina. I didn't know a lot about my Mexican heritage growing up, and it was really nice to have a story of a Mexican character. Especially one like who was, I think she wasn't recently annexed Texas, and I thought that was really cool and really good. Who is your number 5?
Molly.
Interesting. I have Molly a little bit higher.
I like Molly. I think she's a good gal. She got glasses.
She do got
but
glasses. I liked her movie a lot.
She do be having glasses indeed. Yeah, she had a good movie. I remember liking her story. She didn't want to eat sweet potatoes one day, and I was like,
Number 4, I have Molly.
that's cute. I have Julie.
Interesting.
Julie is only there for Ivy, though.
Yeah.
Do we need to expound it anymore? We are Ivy stans.
We are Ivy stans here. Number 3, I had Rebecca. Rebecca Rubin is the Jewish character. She's a first generation American, and she's Jewish, and I loved her story so much.
Okay, so her parents emigrated?
I believe so. She's to represent the immigration boom and the lead up to World War One. I feel like Rebecca. I was obsessed with. I would check out her books from the public library all the time. I was obsessed with them. I think that there's a scene in one of her books where they sleep out on a fire escape, and I wanted to do that so bad. I wanted a fire escape so we could sleep out on it, and I think that her books are the reason why I want to live in New York now.
My number 3 is Addie Walker. I read her books. I liked her books a lot. I remember specifically the quote-unquote firm but fair woman who they lodged with, who made them dresses, and that was like her holiday dress, and it was like red and gold and green tartan, and it was beautiful. I loved the clothes on these dolls.
I do too. Rebecca had a really nice if I remember the doll correctly from my many visits to Oak Park Mall in Overland Park, where the American Girl store was located, Rebecca's had like a nice like wool outfit, like 2-piece with like velvet. I believe this is from my memory. Hailey will have to look it up and see. But I really liked her like purpley color and New York. My number 2 is Kaya. I was almost a horse girl. I liked her outfit a lot though. I had her doll, so I had that connection to it.
Here's why I don't like Nanea, because before they had Nanea as a doll, they had Aloha Kanani books. And the Kanani books, I really liked Kanani.
I had Kanani's book.
What the hell is a girl of the year? That's dumb.
They have a girl every year that's like just for like that's set in that year. I think she was 2014. Kanani was 2014, and I had Kanani's book, and I loved her so much.
Kanani was the best, right? Her cousin came to stay, and it was all about her reconnecting with her cousin, and they had a diary of the same color, and they had an old-fashioned candy store that Kanani worked at.
And she did snow cones, which I loved. Her doll has like a little snow cone thing, like that's her like.
Yes. Oh my god, Kanani was the best. That's why Nanea bothered me. Thank you, myself.
So my number 2 is Kaya. Who's your number 2?
That's a little bit. My number 2, with no bias whatsoever, is Kirsten Larson. And it's not just because she sucked at the teat of my motherly love and we were the most closely connected, as you say. It's because she slaps. Her accoutrements are so cute.
I have to be honest.
She wanted to try apples because she had not tried them before, and she moved to the United States, and she got her apples, by God! And her hair is the most interesting.
I thought that I rated her higher, but then I just had so many other ones that I liked more. I really like Kirsten.
The aesthetics of her outfit because she has a white and red checked apron.
It reminded me so much of Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I'd read a lot of those books, and I wanted to keep American Girl separate from my other.
On the Prairie.
Because it was too close to the like genre that I was already really into, and when I wanted American Girl dolls, I wanted a different era. Can we say our number 1 at the same time?
Yeah, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Kittredge.
It's Kit. It's Kit. We love Kit.
Kittredge. There is no competition.
I love her so much.
Great Depression Kittredge. Yes.
Hailey and I looked the same in elementary school. We looked identical. We had the same glasses. We don't currently, but we will soon. We had the same hair. We got called each other's names constantly, and you know who we both looked like? Kittredge. And
we had her little coconut head.
We had
her hair was like down to here, and she was like her head looked like a little coconut.
Oh my god!
And her movie is by far and away.
It is the only one with a theatrical release.
Highly deserved.
It definitely.
What kind of plot? Okay, it's during the Great Depression. Her dad has to move away to try to find a job, so her mom opens up a house for boarders. They get a quirky crew of a ton of people to come live in their house. But lo and behold, a crime happens. I can't remember what the crime is. I think somebody steals something, maybe.
I don't remember.
But they have to learn, like
they had to learn the hobo language, which I know is an
right. I
uncouth
don't like
term.
that word.
It's an
Yeah.
uncouth term in today's standards, but it was used a lot, because that's what they in the 1930s when they're called, and they used so into that language.
Kit's a journalist. She saves the day. End of story. Best movie. Go
Yes,
watch it.
you and me, we're both very similar. If you can't tell from this podcast, we're both very into writing. And guess what? Kit's a writer.
She's a journalist. She has high standards
Her
of
typewriter,
journalistic excellence.
I
I
wanted
don't
a
want
typewriter.
to hear
So
the name Ronan Farrow. I don't want to hear it.
no.
Ugh.
We're talking about American Girl doll fan fiction. Something that most people like. So today we're not just talking about our favorite American Girl dolls. We're talking about American
Though it
Girl.
would seem so.
No, it would seem so based on how much time we spent on it. We're going to be talking about something that you may not know existed, American Girl doll fan fiction. I didn't know this existed until a couple of months ago. Hailey didn't know it existed until a few days ago when I sent her the idea for this episode.
Well, what I think is so fabulous is that there's not an American Girl doll fandom, really. I think
Collectors, that's it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of the fan fiction. Of course, I'm basing this on archiveofourown.com. Archive of Our Own, AO3. .org. And because that has the most collected works of fan fiction, and
because we don't hate ourselves enough to set foot anywhere else.
Yeah, I would rather die than go anywhere else. If you remember in our last episode, I went to LiveJournal, and I'd rather not do any of that again. So let me tell you a little bit about the fics on AO3 in the American Girl doll area. There are 98 total fics at the time of recording.
Aww.
I checked it again today just in case like that number had changed. It hasn't. 98 fics, and I love all of them, not equally because there's one I love more. Okay, so there's 98 total fics, and the top tags are crossover, post-canon, fluff, friendship, future fic, Yuletide treat, romance, ficlet, alternative universe, and family. So exactly the tags that you would think.
So is a Yuletide treat and a little spiked egg?
I think that was
a little Christmas crack. Have you never had Christmas crack?
Like a Christmas cracker? Like a
No, Christmas crack.
Like crack? Cocaine?
Well, I'm sure that's what it's named after, but it's distinctly more suburban than that. It's like, I've never actually had it either, but a lot of people tell me about it. It's like a bunch of like candy canes crushed up and put into chocolate, and I think maybe there are pretzels involved.
That's so weird. We're not going to talk about that. Yuletide treat, I think,
I'm
was
looking
a
up Christmas crack.
It was like a challenge. I'm not sure.
It's put on a graham cracker. It's caramel and graham cracker. That's Christmas crack.
Okay. I'm cutting out the Christmas crack stuff because that doesn't make any sense.
Do not cut out the Christmas crack. I'm begging you.
I will post Yuletide crack only because you owe me $20 and a kiss. So we have 80 rated G, 13 rated T, 1 rated M, and 4 unrated. No rated E, don't worry. Nothing too explicit here, only a rated M.
What's T?
T is for teen.
Aw, cute.
So the 1 rated M fic is actually the one that Hailey is bringing, I believe, which I thoroughly enjoy. There are 2 character death warning ones, which I found fascinating. One is a crossover.
What's the longest one? Because every one that I found was like 1 chapter and like 1,000 words.
I found that there were majority were like a good length. I wasn't looking exactly at how long they were, but I did see several that were about 4K. And that seemed to be like pretty common were 4K ones.
That's healthy.
Yeah, it's a healthy fic. I saw one that was like 11K, but it was a crossover. I think any that are like pretty hardy are crossovers. So there's one crossover with a lot of other things, like one of those big hardy things where like this is the fandom list, this is the ship list, and this is like the rest of the tags. And so that had a character death warning. And then also one about Felicity, which was not a crossover and was like 200 words. It had a character death warning, which was, I think it was just like letters to her and her friend love interest Ben. There is one crossover with the Untitled Goose Game, and I cannot find how it's connected to American Girl dolls. There's also a lot less WLW than I would have thought.
There's a lot of Kit and Ruthie.
Yeah, that's really the majority of the it. Felicity had a lot of Felicity and Ben. And I think most
So
of the fics
boring.
most of the fics that I saw were about Felicity. She is the number one character, but we'll talk about that later.
Really, Felicity.
Yeah, I think it's because her story was so boring that they had to make it more interesting and right. So the most WLW was Kit and Ruthie, but also Samantha and Nellie.
Oh yeah, her poor friend.
Yeah, her poor.
That's Nellie's whole purpose is
Yeah,
to be poor and show Samantha that there are poor people in this world.
There is a series about Felicity time traveling to meet other American Girl dolls and take them to the future. Sure, her main storyline in this series of like one shots is like she's set in present time and she's on a road trip with her family and gets bored. And so she decides to time travel and meet other American Girl dolls.
That is fantastic.
I know, it's very good.
I'm obsessed. That's so good.
So here are a couple of tags that I really enjoyed. Here's one tag. This is all one tag. Kit will grow up to be a trans guy. I will die on this hill. And then on a separate different fic.
I won't kill them on that hill. That's a good hill.
On a separate different fic. Non-binary Kit. Which I love because Kit was my favorite and I'm non-binary. So
this is why Kit is the devastating. Please do.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. I want a pirate adventure.
I saw a lot of fics that had hundreds of hits and a good deal of kudos, which I think is very interesting. When I took a look at the kudos, I was in the 2013 section. So I don't know if there was like a little boost in popularity there, but like they had like up to 400 hits and like a good amount, like 35 kudos, which is like a pretty good ratio in fan fiction world. I would like to believe, in order to help my past 7th grade self who published fan fiction. Please don't go looking for it.
When we do Marvel, we're doing one of yours.
I didn't publish any Marvel.
Oh.
I didn't actually I published one chapter of one and it was so bad it got 0 kudos and I deleted it. The earliest one that I could find was 2005, with the majority in 2020 and a good chunk in 2015 and 2013, with a few sprinkled in years in between.
When is the most recent? Is there any 2020?
There was no 2021, but the most recent was December 27th, 2020.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, putting in the work. That was only like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, wow.
So the most popular characters are Felicity with 27 fics, Samantha with 24, and Kit with 20. And that's basically everything that you could need to know about the fan fiction of the American Girl dolls.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to bring us to a side of that fan fiction that is not emblematic of all of the rest. I'm going to read you all the entirety. Yes, the entirety, because it's 508 words about the size of like a free write.
You have chosen the one fic that is rated M in the entire fic.
I have chosen the one fic that's rated mature.
We must state that the characters are aged up. We have to put a
right off the bat. Yes.
Disclaimer right here. The characters are aged up. It is set over a decade and a half after. Like a decade and a half? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you're the expert. So when was Kit set?
1934.
Okay, and
so about a decade after. So,
dearest listeners, are you ready to hear the pairing that I have brought to the table? Kit Kittredge, an American Girl, and Steve Rogers.
So there's a 5-year age gap.
Tags are, first of all, blowjobs. Kit's all grown up, and sort of first time. Yeah, it was published in 2013, and I will be reading the entire thing. It's called That's Not Her Name by For Those Below. Ooh. Summary. Steve Rogers meets a nice girl in Chicago before he goes overseas, spelled S-E-E-S, and tries to find Bucky and stuff. Oh.
Wait, this okay, so let me talk a little bit. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Evie.
Yeah.
Very intense MCU fan time. So
Evie is our resident MCU expert.
So in the course of Captain America, the first Avenger. Winter Soldier is much better than the first Avenger. So over the course of, he does a tour with as like an entertaining act. So I would like to say that this is probably in his tour with the USSO, but he is in America. Once he gets overseas and he's doing shows there, because he did shows in both places, in the US and overseas. When he's there in the movie,
that's important.
He does realize that Bucky's platoon, squadron, I don't know.
Who cares? Down
I
with
hate
the
army.
military industrial complex.
Has gone
High
missing.
five.
They're being reported as dead, and goes to find him. So I think that is what they're referring to, not the better known Winter Soldier going to find Bucky.
You ready? I have no clue what I was thinking. Kit would have been around the right age for this. She's not like 10 when we last read about her. Okay, I am not that awful. Isn't that? Are you ready for 500 words of greatness? Hi. The girl swooned, handing him a picture to sign. Steve shyly smiled back at her while he signed her photo. I'm a huge fan, she told him. Thanks, Steve stuttered. What a loser. Incel Steve Cell. He still wasn't very good at talking to women. She was the last person from a long line of people, and the crowd was starting to fade away. The crowd was staring to fade away. Have you ever been to Chicago before? She asked, which is bullshit because Kit is in Cincinnati and everybody knows that.
Yeah, Kit was in Cincinnati. I'm imagining that she moved for her career.
Stop giving them liberties. They don't deserve it.
I think that they do because they're trying really hard.
Have you ever been to Chicago before? She asked. No, ma'am. Steve looked around, hoping for an escape. The girl was very pretty, but this was awkward. Well, if you're in town much longer, I could show you around. Ooh. I also want to actually focus on the girl was very pretty, but this was awkward. Like, this is like the most basic conversational skills, and I think that this is out of character for Steve Rogers.
Steve was very fake confident. I think that he wouldn't have found it. I think that he would be trying to seduce the women. Now I think
he's talking about good boy things. Where are you from? How's life?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like seduce the women, but like, in the 1940s version of seduce. I think that they're basing this off of the scene where he's touring with the USSO and he draws the monkey doing tricks because he hates the US military because the US military is BS.
Well, if you're in town for much longer, I could show you around, the girl suggested. No, thank you. I leave tomorrow. Oh, okay. I'm Kit, by the way. I'm making her voice softer now. I feel like that's the, psyche this author is trying to evoke. Steve. Steve stuck out his hand, and she shook it, and they shook, her hand lingering longer than was necessary. Oh my god, the old linger. Somehow, Steve could never figure out how the two of them ended up in his hotel room. That's just such a baller transition. He could never figure out how.
You just didn't feel like writing it.
No, you didn't. And so you decided to cut scene. And now it seems like she drugged him. He could never figure out how. That's a himbo. He just doesn't understand that walking from one place to another changes your location. His spatial awareness skills are slim to none.
I mean,
get ready for some really good pithy dialogue. Steve trailed off once again as her lips met his. Kit trailed kisses down his face and bit the skin on the underside of his chin. How that taste, Miss Kittredge? He finally remembered that he should probably be touching her in some way or another, and brought his hands onto her hips, thusly pulling her up against him. I like to think that his hands were up like the entire time while he was doing this.
You
Like,
remember that Mabim Bam bit, which is like, where do you put your hands when you kiss a girl? And Griffin says, straight up in the air like a roller coaster.
actually,
Because baby, when you're kissing me, you're on a ride.
the heat continued to grow between the two bodies, and Steve felt every little bit of. She trailed fingers down his recently acquired abs. Then she tugged on the bottom of his shirt until he took off the top of the costume. Wow, she whispered. His hands were now finger the buttons on her blouse and one by one popped open, blah, blah, blah. He had never seen anyone like this before. Now, I don't know if that means he had never seen anyone like this before, like he'd never seen anyone in this context before,
Or like Kit before.
if he'd never seen anyone like Kit before, like she got some weird nipples. So that's what this is a real sexy thing. Hot sex tip. She laughed at the visible bulge in his tights. If you're ever about to have sex with someone who might have a bulge, it's always a good idea to point. He blushed, laughed naturally. Kit got down on her knees and pulled the tights and underwear down until his C word was free. As she looked at it, before sucking his dick,